So hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Come Spin With Me. It's Kim, and it is actually a day early. I'm recording this on Tuesday because my schedule this week is just going to be a little bit different because I had to change the days that I go into work. So anywho, you get my video a week or a day early this week instead of not at all like week before last. Oh, I still feel terrible about that. So for this week, I actually recorded the plying / spinning portion of the video on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, because I was ready to Navajo ply the singles that I had spun of the 2 if by hand safest houses. So that is going to be the second segment of this week's spinning video. For the first segment, I'm actually going to show you the finished yarn, so you'll see it kind of in reverse. You're going to see the finished plied yarn before you see me actually plying the yarn. So we're going to travel in time, do a little Doctor Who thing. So the TARDIS is dropping us off here in the future, and then we're going to take you back to the past and show you how it all happened. It's going to be kind of weird. And I also have the obligatory fiber porn and a couple of things to show this week that are a little bit different because I have some finished yarns for which I actually still have fiber that matches it, so you can see what it looked like in fiber form versus what it looks like all spun up. So without further ado, let us start with fiber porn. And I feel kind of like dancing a little bit because Laura, Fluffy Kira, sent me a link to a video of the Seattle Symphony performing behind Sir Mix-a-Lot, and he did Baby Got Back. I like big butts and I cannot lie. So that song is like going through my head, and I have a big butt, I cannot lie. Hopefully it's getting smaller with the juicing. But if you see me dancing in my seat, that's why. Thank Laura. Tell her. That's right. Okay, so let's get started with the fiber before I use up all my time. I'm going to show fiber first that I don't have spun yarn for. So this week's fiber porn is brought to you by, once again, the same dyers that I always show you. 2 if by hand, and this again is another fiber dyed by Jalen. This one is called Hippie the Tree Hugger. Oh, Hippie Tree Hugger, not Hippie the Tree Hugger, duh. Hippie Tree Hugger. Trying to get you a shot of this without all the glare. And yeah, the colors are kind of true, at least in my viewfinder. There's a green in the center, then it goes to kind of an acidy yellow, then it goes to orange, and then it goes to brown. This is a gradient skein. So I will spin it straight from the braid just the way it is. I won't split it down into strips or anything. And then that way the finished yarn will actually be a gradient as well. That'll go from brown to orange to yellow to green. It'll be gorgeous. It'll be great for shawls. I like gradient for shawls. And if you can split it in half equally, you could use the gradient for socks as well, which would be really cute, but it's so hard to get it exactly in half. Anywho, next up is another, let's see, I think I already showed you this. Weird and has problems? Yeah, I think I already showed you this because I think people have commented on the weird and has problems. I'm starting to repeat myself because I'm weird and I have problems. Is this thing on? Okay. How about a beautiful semi-solid from David over at Southern Cross Fibers. This is a Polworth top, and it's a semi-solid in a colorway called Deep Blue Sea. And as you can see, S-E-A, pun, that deserves a sippy. That's right. Homage to Bunny, Graveyard Girl. That's right, Bunny. This is it's a really deep blue, and you can't really see the colors, the different colors in it as well with your naked eye as you can on this viewfinder. So I think you're getting a good shot of all the different blues. When you spin it up, it just creates such a depth in the finished yarn. It's just absolutely beautiful. David's a genius. Okay, next I have a fiber by Nest Fiber Studio. This one is called Nausicaa, and this one is on Polworth, and I love this colorway. The first braid of this colorway I got from my friend Sarah Lime Juicy. We did a swap because I had a braid or a bump of Hello Yarn fiber that I had gotten at an update that I wasn't as in love with in person as I was when I saw it online. So I traded that for her bump of Nausicaa from Nest, because I was never able to get a hold of anything when I would go to these Nest updates. Not that I was able to get anything at Hello Yarn. They're pretty hard to get yarn from, or fiber from, either one of them. But we traded and I loved it. So that bump that I got from Sarah, I actually spun up and got about a worsted weight yarn out of it. I spun it a little bit thicker, and here it is. So this is a chain ply. This is also Polworth. It was the same fiber type, and it's a much thicker yarn than I normally make, and I was very excited about that. Plus with the Polworth poofing. So here you see, started out as fiber this way and ended up as yarn this way. Isn't that kind of fun? Okay, and then last, I have the finished yarn that you guys have been watching me spin the singles for, and I also had a second bump of the Safest Houses on Polworth. So you can actually see, once again, here is what the fiber looked like before it was spun up. This is again Safest Houses dyed by Jalen of 2F by hand. And then, drum roll please, the finished Navajo ply yarn that I just took off the hanger in the bathroom where it has been hanging and drying since I soaked it and thwacked it. Safest Houses finished yarn. Da 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 da. Yay! And there it is, extreme close-up. Oh! 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 Okay, you know what's terrible about that is I'm probably gonna freak my camera out so bad that it's not gonna come back into focus. So this is the finished yarn. I ended up with about roughly 300 yards, which is about 100 yards less than I normally get from 4 ounces. My default singles spin will get me about 100 yards an ounce of 3-ply. Navajo ply or traditional, but better yardage with Navajo ply, obviously, because I don't lose out on any singles. This time I tried to spin it thicker, as you'll remember, and I did manage to get a thicker yarn. It's not as thick as the one I just showed you where I got a worsted weight, but it is about a DK weight, and I'm really happy with the result. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but something, I'm sure. But that is the finished yarn. Now the second segment of this video, you will actually be able to see me plying the singles for this finished yarn. It took a lot less time than I expected it to, but that again is because I didn't have quite as many yards of the singles as I normally do, so it plied up faster as well. And it poofed as Polworth does, not as much as it would have poofed if this had been a 2-ply. 3-plies don't tend to poof quite as much, but I still got a little bit of that Polworth poof, and I'm really excited by it. So that's 2 now in this series where you've gotten to see me start the singles, go through spinning the singles, then plying them, and then a finished yarn. So that's twice. That's pretty exciting. That's good for me. I get 2 finished yarns out of doing these videos, which otherwise I probably wouldn't have gotten done. So I'm shedding. I keep wiping my arms because I keep feeling hair, like a hair on me. Does anybody else have that? I cannot stand, for as long as my hair is, and as much as I have, you would think I liked hair, and I don't. I can't stand the feeling of a single hair touching me. Now, a whole bunch of hair touching me, that's as long as it's mine. Kind of creeped out by somebody else's hair touching me. But if it's my hair, I can stand it. But, oh, a single hair. Anywho. Now I'm all distracted. Okay, that's it for the first segment. Now I'm going to turn you over to the second segment, and you're going to get to see me ply. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you as much as I can. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see with this angle, but I'm going to give it a go. You're probably going to be able to see it just about as well as you did on my last plying video, but I thought I would try and get a little bit closer and show you a few more of the steps, because I think I'd already started this the last time. So in order to get prepared, the first thing I do is set up my wheel so that it is ready to ply. That means reversing the direction and putting a fresh bobbin on. And again, excuse me, frog in my throat. We're going to be plying the Safest Houses singles dyed by 2 of my hand that you watched me spin. And I'm going to make sure that the wheel is set up with the right tension and all of that, and speed just to start. So I take my leader and I just start it moving, start the treadle going, and then I see how firm the pull-on is. And this is nice and firm, but it's not pulling it out of my hand, so it looks like it's got some pretty good tension for my plying. And that's the speed I have it set at that I normally use. Okay, so then the next thing I need to do is attach the singles to my leader. And since I'm going to be Navajo plying, the way we're going to do that is with a slip knot. So I've got this handy dandy clip, which comes in, it's very useful when I'm in the middle of plying and I have to stop for a moment, and I can clip it and keep the twist from going up into the rest of the fiber. Okay, so what I do is with the singles, I take them and make a slip knot with a pretty good size. I have fuzzies on my hand. Gross. Okay, so I create a slip knot using the single. I put that through the slip knot on the end of the leader. So there's the opening, and then here's the single that's feeding off the bobbin that's behind the camera. And I put that through and create the first chain and loop. And then I open this loop and I'm going to draw the new single through and then ply up before I bring it down and let it feed on. And that's all there is to chain plying. You're just making a long crocheted chain basically, and letting the twist travel up through all 3 of the plies before you go back and grab more and feed it on. And that's all there is to it. Hopefully you guys are seeing this well enough, and I apologize if you're not. I am filming this on Monday during lunch, so I should be able to get a good 10 minutes in, and then I'll film the rest of the Come Spin With Me episode at another time. But you will already know that because you will see it first, so that's kind of silly to tell you. But anyways, I'm doing this plying on Monday. I'm very anxious to get this plied up and finished so I can see the resulting yarn to get an idea of not just how beautiful I expect it to be, because Jalen did such a lovely job dyeing this, but I want to see how successful I was at creating a thicker finished yarn, because my default creates some very skinny yarn, usually sock weight to lace weight, usually a fine fingering weight yarn. And I'd like to start being able to spin some thicker finished yarns like DK weight and worsted, because even though I don't normally knit a lot with worsted, at least not in the past I didn't, I'm starting to find more and more projects that call for worsted weight yarn that I have been knitting, and it would be nice to be able to do some of that stuff with some hand spun instead of always getting commercial yarn. So the color runs on this are very nice. I love this teal section here. So we got some good, nice long sections of color, which would create some very pretty stripes, depending on what you knit with this. Something with a small circumference or a smaller width would obviously give you longer stripes. And something like a sweater would give you much thinner stripes, but still stripes nonetheless. And who doesn't love stripes? So the week has just started. So far so good. My schedule is a little wonky this week. It's not the usual. The days in the office are a little different this week. So it's throwing me off. I don't like when my schedule is different, but at least this schedule change was my choice. And oops, I hope that didn't dislodge my angle. I just hit the top of the camera. I wanted to show you very quickly, specifically for Helen, because I know you did a chain ply yarn not long ago that you said was over twisted. So I just want to show you when I let go of the tension on this, that you can see that the plied yarn just kind of floats. It doesn't twist on itself. That's about the way I want the twist to be in my plied yarn. So I just wanted to show you that. So as you're doing your chain ply, you want to stop, or anytime you're plying, you want to stop periodically just to check and make sure that you're getting the right the twist that you like. There's nothing wrong with an overspun yarn. It can be used for something specific. A lot of times a yarn is overspun when it's being created just to make something that's a little bit tougher and more durable. And sometimes you don't want something that's overplied. You want something a little underplied, or however you want it. But you want to stop every now and then and just test it and see what it's looking like, just like you would with a single, to make sure that you're getting the right width and the right twist, and it gives you an idea of what the finished yarn is going to be like. A little bit of over twist isn't terrible, because some of that will come out in the finishing when you soak and thwack it, but you don't want it to be curly cueing back on itself, because that's too much twist, in which case you need to slow down the spin. So if you're using a normal treadle wheel, slow down your feet. Don't treadle so fast, or change the whorl so you don't get quite as many rotations on the flyer. And then you're not putting nearly as much twist. That'll happen a lot, especially with Navajo plying, just because your hands can't move as fast as your feet do when you're used to a certain rhythm when you're doing a single. So instead of trying to concentrate on slowing your feet down, sometimes it's better to just change the whorl on your wheel so that your feet can go the same speed that you're used to, so that you can just kind of mindlessly spin, because your feet kind of default the way your hands do. But it's not putting as many rotations on the flyer, so you're not putting as much twist in for those treadles. So whatever works for you. Okay, I want to slow this down real quick and take a look at my timer and see where we are. Okay, we're at 8 minutes, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to quietly go ahead and do some more spinning and let this section, or let this segment of the video, just kind of run out on its own. Hopefully you enjoyed this plying, and I hope that you were able to see something while I was doing it. I know it's not the best setup for filming this, but it's the best I can do, so let me know what you think and if it was worthwhile, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, so that was the plying segment of the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I went back and watched it after I had recorded it, and I think the angle actually turned out really well. I'm not so sure about the lighting because I was doing it in my family room area so that I could get set up and have my lazy Kate and everything with the bobbin of singles on it behind me at the right angle, and that's the spot where I normally will spin, whether I'm spinning singles or plying. That's my normal spot, but the lighting over there is really bad, and the one window that I have that would be perfect to light me is the blinds are broken, so I can't actually open them, so that kind of stinks. Hopefully that worked out for you. I really enjoyed doing the plying portion. I really enjoyed the early portion where I got to show you finished yarns once again. Some finished yarns, and also the fibers, the way the yarns started out. And before I say goodbye, I'm going to bring someone over to say goodbye with me. Somebody new who's not going to stick around for very long. He's going to go live with someone else very soon, but Basil would like to say goodbye. Say bye, Basil. Thanks for joining me this week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.